Beast. What's up, Doombots? Today we're going to discuss Beast. So, Beast, I'm not gonna lie, when Beast first came out, this is well before the Astonishing X-Men were in the game, I thought he was a little bit lackluster. Especially because, as an X-Men fan, Beast to me was always super cool. Just because he was this science nerdy monster gorilla man. And I was like, well, that's three things I'd never thought I'd see together. So growing up in the TAS, Beast was cool. And then in the movies, watching Kelsey Grammer from Frasier play Beast, super cool. And then somehow getting Nicholas Hoult to play Beast and not make me bored because Nicholas Hoult is kind of boring, super cool. Anyway, back to Beast. If you don't know, Beast's first appearance was X-Men #1. He is one of the founding members of the X-Men, or first class members of the X-Men, I guess, if you want to hear the part in vernacular. So, why Beast? Well, Beast was just a dude who had weird feet and very, very high animal levels of agility and strength. Over time, he had realized that his feet looked weird, right? So he decided it was best case scenario for him was to cure the mutant gene. So, you know, his feet stopped looking weird. Well, turns out he's not that good of a scientist at the time. So what he did instead was make himself like a blue monkey. Now, fast forwarding significantly, comic books weren't as great as they were. A lot of times they were just fun, or, hey, let's talk about this topic that's popular in social, society. Retroactively, what Beast's formula did was three things. One, prepare the mutant population for diseases that would eventually target the mutant gene, kind of like how certain diseases may run rampant among different types of communities like sickle cell anemia, etc. As they introduced, I believe it was called the legacy virus. Beast was able to, because of his research, react to those things quickly. Not always quickly enough, but quickly. Another thing was to show that mutations weren't one and done. Again, this was retconned, but showing that Beast becoming blue, that wasn't a side effect of his formula. His formula accelerated his mutation, so he was always going to become blue because mutants have the ability to mutate more than once. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time talking about details about Beast, but the comic book series I'm going to introduce you to is one of the earliest ones in the description below, and it's going to be, I believe, one of the first introductions to the Juggernaut, showing just exactly how versatile Beast was. And I think this is Beast before he got his blue. That said, I would love to show you guys, and please comment below if you know specifically which comic Beast became blue, because not only could I not find it, it wasn't a arc, or it wasn't the entire point of the comic series. It was just like a side thing that was happening. He's like, oops, I took a shot and now I'm blue. Like, it wasn't everything. I know it was early on, but if you can find it, please comment below and let me know. Now we can talk a little bit about Beast's abilities. Beast is a hairy monkey man. He has a ton of hairy monkey powers. He can hang upside down, read, super strength, super agility, great reflexes, and unrelated to that, as a human, genius level intellect. So his mutation has nothing to do with his intellect. He just also happens to be incredibly brilliant. Insofar that if he does suppress his mutant powers, he still is brilliant, as opposed to some characters whose powers are also relative to their intellect or ability to think or stuff like that, like Flash, so that's pretty much everything I could say regarding Beast in MCU, in Marvel Comics. Well, Marvel movies, MCU not yet. So now let's talk about Beast in the game. Like I said before, I was very rude on Beast when he had first come out into the game. He was more or less just his passive, and we'll look at that in a second. But as time came on and as they introduced not only a team for him, but a couple of tweaks and reworks, he's become one of the better characters, not only in the game, within the confines of his teams and how he's used, but among the best, right? Among the best across multiple different game modes. So, hero character, global as most mutants are, mutant support, reasonable. There's only about 4 or 5 incredibly important support characters in the game, and he's on an incredibly important team, so don't feel bad about that investment. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, and then this is a generic tag. So, I don't know why they need both. They could just put X-Men. It'll be known that he could fit on either, as opposed to whatever. I'm not coding the game. This isn't for me. So, why is it that this passive is so important? Because of this line of text. If the character has 3 or more Uncanny X-Men allies at the start of battle, and the first ally death does not count towards the loss of medals in campaigns and challenges. Basically, you could use Phoenix, she could flip into Dark Phoenix, and you'll still win. This was one of his greatest abilities. The problem was, at the time, people would talk about how amazing it is to have this feature, but you still had to work on him. So you were still working on this character to justify, flipping a Phoenix. Because if he died, then this doesn't matter. It's the first death doesn't count. And in my head, it just made more sense. Like, just work on the characters you're currently using. Don't worry about him. And truthfully, that was a fine thing for as long as the Uncanny X-Men were the best team in the game. That wasn't very long. By the time Beast came out, it didn't matter that much. And then the Astonishing X-Men came out, and they're obviously currently and probably for the foreseeable future insane raid teams. So everything else as far as this is concerned, reply regeneration, and then heal if they're an X-Men, and blah, 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 blah. This ability is absolutely phenomenal. It's so good that the resistance for self and X-Men allies is hilariously unnecessary, because they're going to win way faster than any debuff that could happen to them, that 10% is going to make a difference. No. So this is one of the coolest abilities, because you don't actually ever need to invest in this T4. It doesn't give you anything. This 10% resistance is irrelevant. The team has reasonable resistance, but not so much that 10% is going to make major difference, and they're going to go so fast and do so much damage you don't have to waste your time with it. As for mutant enhancement, kind of the same thing. Apply regeneration to self and all mutant allies, as opposed to not. I guess this is a great ability to add more healing, but he heals so well with his turn meter from the team and everything that even that's kind of unnecessary. You could do it, but there's just no major reason to. This, heal the 2 most injured allies, attack all enemies, clear negative effects. This alone is also pretty reasonable. They did kind of change it from I think it was 2 negative effects from self to 2 negative effects to all Astonishing X-Men. And I just wanted to make sure I guaranteed that with this, because, a blind could kind of ruin your fight, or an offense down on the wrong character. Maybe it could be a little bit happier with more heals or anything, but hey, he's a great character. And then Dignified Strike. This attack's insane. It's a basic attack that flips positive effects. But if it's a counter or assist, which it almost always is, they flip 2 positive effects. Like, attacks adjacent targets, and even though it looks like it's a chain, it's not. Beast is insane now with all of the stuff he's doing. Is absolutely crazy. So that's one of the best things about Beast. He doesn't require much to get going, but the more you put into him, the faster things go. As far as the Astonishing X-Men goes, he's part of the Power Trinity. If you do want to use the Astonishing X-Men, but don't want to waste your time, or don't have that much mutant gear, you can work on Jubilee, Beast, and Bishop first, and then over time you can put in the other 2 mutants, the Kitty Pryde and the Iceman. In the meantime, you can use basically anyone else, and the team will still be incredibly reasonable. You can use Longshot, Shatterstar. You could, if you need mutants, if you're working on them for something, you can use existing ones you may have already, like Sinister and Emma. Totally reasonable. You can instead ignore that, and you can just use, Kestrel and Silver Surfer on the team, and I promise they'll still be fine. So one of the reasons why Beast is getting an A rating, as an individual character, actually A-, only because How good he is at what he's supposed to do is so amazing that I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, considering the fact that outside of his team, he's pretty garbage, for lack of better word. I don't feel like I would ever splash him on a team. I don't think he's the missing part of any combination of non-X-Men characters. And that's reasonable, you know, like when you think of characters like Zemo or Kestrel, Silver Surfer, you could put them on a team, but you know for a fact that they're one of the best options on any team as long as you can use them. Beast is one of the best options on any mutant team, I guess, but I wouldn't necessarily use him as the 5th member of the X-Force or the X-Factor. That said, best mutant raid team in the game, and for my money, I think the Astonishing X-Men are the best raid team in the game, so I'm giving them the credits where credit's due. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, or if you remember the first comic where Beast turns into a blue monkey man, please comment below and let me know. Have a good night. Have a great day. I've been Tony Scungili, and I will catch you later.